Alright, YouTube, David Harry here, and in this video I'm going to blabber on about some problems that I found with my Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra. Now, if you're thinking about buying one of these, I would strongly recommend that you listen to as much of what I've got to say here and bear it in mind when you get yours, and then just make sure that yours doesn't exhibit any of the same problems. And also, if you've already got one and you think you might have been noticing some problems, maybe what I've noticed you may be able to recognize yourself, which will mean that you can then identify with the fact that you don't have them all on your own and somebody else does. Now, before I get into it, I cannot say for sure that these are problems which affect all of the phones, okay? It could well be the case that all, or maybe just one of the problems that I'm going to talk about is only on my phone, because maybe I have a singular defective phone in some way, and there's always a possibility that that is the case, okay? Nonetheless, I'm going to put it out there, and other people can kind of work that out for themselves, whether this sounds similar to something that they've either noticed or that they may notice if they buy one. Also, before I get into this, there are two different versions of processors that we will get in these S22s. So right across the range, whether it's a 22 5G, 22 Ultra or 22 Plus, doesn't matter, there will be one of two processors in them. In the UK, we get the Exynos 2200, and for the best part, I think that's mostly Europe gets the same one as well, certain other territories around the world. However, you guys in the likes of North America and certain other territories in the world, you get the Exynos 8 Gen 1 CPU or processing unit within inside these phones. Technically, they are called SoCs, system on chip, and that's because they also have embedded within them the GPU as well, which is another big issue here that I'll get to at the end of the video, because don't forget, as far as the GPUs are concerned in these, as far as the Exynos 220s are concerned, we're using the new AMD variant of the Exynos version of the GPU, whereas you guys in North America, you've got the Adreno version with the Snapdragons. And right now I can categorically tell you that despite the fact that on paper, the AMD version in the 2200 is meant to be much powerful and much more stronger. Right now, in the real world, the Adreno that's on the Snapdragon variant is definitely outperforming the one that's in this phone. And I'll get to that at the end of the video, because that might not be something that will bother most people who do vlogging and stuff, or camera work and microphones. Anyway, so to the problems here. So what it is, I did a video the other day where I used this, which is the Rode Video Mic Me C. Now, in that video, what happened was I actually had problems. But the thing was, for the best part, when I got back in, the footage that I had was well good enough for me to present a really good vlogging system, and that is exactly what I done. Now, don't get me wrong, I didn't shirk away from telling people shit news and stuff, because as anybody knows who watches my stuff, I do not hide from bad news. Do you know what I mean? I'll always tell people if there is bogus bullshit to have to look out for with certain things. However, in this instance, the issues that I was having were that some of the audio wasn't being recorded. Now, technically speaking, that could have been the microphone, but because I've already been given Rode a fairly bad time recently with some stuff in other videos, there was no way I was just going to automatically start going, listen, for the best part, this all sounds great, but this Rode microphone's killing all the takes and stuff, because that wasn't the case. So the reason why I never mentioned it in the other videos, because I was completely unsure as to where the problem was at that point in time. However, right now, I've got enough evidence to say it is not the microphone, it was the actual phone itself. So basically what's happened is I've just gone out with one of my other USB mic systems, and what I've done there is plugged it straight in, done a quick couple of takes, had a listen back, and it all sounded good. So then I just continued to start doing a load of testing. I was out in the wind, the rain, I was doing stuff inside a van, stuff in a field, indoor stuff. I done tons and tons of takes. Anyway, when I've got back in just now to start editing it all up, about 60% of those takes have got no audio on them. Very same thing that happened when I used the Rode mic the other day, but these are two different microphones here, because the Rode microphone definitely connects digitally when that goes into that bitstreams audio, and the way that I was doing it before was actually one of two ways. One way would have taken over as an analog input, and then the other way was another bitstream variant as well, both of which had problems. So all I can say right now is that, you know, more than 60% of what I just done was blank as far as the audio was concerned, and it definitely is not the problem with the microphone, because all three mics now that I've tried have all had the same problem, and I know for a fact that all three mics are not broke. Anyways, yeah, so massive problem, showstopper for me, because I've just basically wasted an entire afternoon and lost a video. So I've been trying to, like, you know, pull a bunch of videos together for this phone and get them out as fast as I can. Anybody who does, like, you know, YouTube videos knows you've got to get these things out as fast as you can when a product is released and stuff. Say problem is released, because this is definitely a problem product as far as I'm concerned. Anyways, so the problem is I've just blasted through a whole afternoon then and come back with garbage, so there's no way that I'm able to do a video. So that's a day wasted as far as I'm concerned, and I'm also then a bit further behind trying to get my YouTube videos out about this. Anyway, so problem number 2. My main camera on the back, which is let's see, is it 108 megapixel or whatever it is, but it's the main camera on the back. I just went out and done some 8K footage with it, right? And to kind of like make things really fair with this, I switched off the stabilizer and I put the phone on a tripod as well. What it was, I went out and did like a bunch of static shots where there was obviously stuff in the frame moving and things like that. However, to give the phone the best possible opportunity to record its best picture, you would have to take the stabilizer off, because stabilizers being on is using a lot more processing, which is definitely going to interfere with the picture quality as well. But 2, locking it off on a tripod and stuff like that definitely gives it like the best opportunity to get its best picture. So anyway, I did a bunch of stuff like that, and well, every single shot was soft. Okay, now the worst thing about that is that I'd actually tapped to focus on some stuff in the distance, in the frames of some of the shots. In fact, I might throw some stuff randomly, a couple of shots now over this. Now what you're gonna have to remember, if I have put the shots over this, the center of the frame, one will have a car in it in the center of the frame. That is not as sharp as it should be. And if you have a look on the plane where the car is, there's other things that just don't look sharp enough either. And then the second shot was like one where I was like looking right down a pathway into the park, the one that I normally go to, like, you know, do me vlogs in and stuff for testing things. And I tapped for like focus right into the distance there. And the distance, well, actually, for the best part, the entire frame's blurry. I can't see where the actual plane of focus is there. But I actually tapped for focus into the distance and everything, and that is definitely blurry. So the thing is, there was those and a bunch of other shots that I've done where the part of the picture where I wanted it to be in focus, one, that wasn't necessarily in focus, but neither was the entire picture. So this is the weird thing. It was as if the lens had some smearing on it, which it did not. The lenses were all like very, very clean before I started recording and stuff like that. So yes, that rear camera stuff I'm having a terrible time with, which is really ironic because I've already done stuff with the front-facing camera, which is amazing. I think the front-facing camera on these is one of the best cameras I've ever seen for doing that selfie vlog stuff. Fantastic. And I've already done a couple of videos with them, and or about the front-facing camera. Absolutely no problems with the quality of that. However, doing this 8K stuff on that main rear camera, definitely tons of problems with that. Now, there is the possibility that that rear camera problem that I've got may be limited to my phone. However, there's something else to bear in mind here. I've seen some tests which have been done between two S22s, two Ultras, and they've been to do with the differences between Exynos and also the Snapdragon ones. Now, here's the thing. You might reasonably assume, like I would, that if there's a problem and it looks like it's to do with focus, you might automatically assume that it is going to be the lens or something to do with the lens and the sensor. Basically something like, as it were, with like the optical system. That would be the most reasonable assumption to make there. However, I've seen some tests between the Exynos and Snapdragon variants of these phones where there are absolute massive differences within the photos and the video modes, which has got nothing to do with the lenses. So part of this, like, computational videography and computational photography and stuff, the processors are actually doing completely different things. I've seen one video where some guy was doing stuff on two of them, and the Snapdragon one clearly had better stabilization going on. Now, the worst thing about that is that on the back we do have optical stabilization as well, but that's being enhanced with the CPUs. So there are clear differences there between the two different CPUs or the two different processors. Once again, technically they are SoCs, system on chips, because they've got the GPUs built in. However, I have noticed that on mine I've had problems. Now, I can't say for sure whether that definitely happens on the Snapdragon variants, and I can't say for sure if it goes beyond just my phone either. So there is a possibility that that particular issue that I've noticed is just my phone. Although, if that particular camera and that 8K video recording using the internal app, if they do rely on some of that computational photography and videography stuff, that may well be causing the problem that I've noticed. Anyway, so that's something to bear in mind there. And also, if anyone's got the Snapdragon variant, let me know if you've noticed anything like that. Or indeed, if anyone's got an Exynos one, let me know. Because like I say, it could just be my phone that's got a problem. And that's not something that goes across the entire range. Now, the last thing here, and this is something that may not affect too many people that would watch this video, or like the main contents of this video being video and audio. But also, when it comes to the GPU as well. So what it is, we use this AMD variant inside the Exynos chip here, and that AMD variant is massively underperforming compared to the Adreno version of the GPU that goes in the Snapdragon one. Now, here's the weird thing. On paper, the AMD variant in here is meant to be a more powerful GPU, but here's the problem. If the software doesn't take account of it, it doesn't matter how powerful that supposedly is. If in the real world the software doesn't use it, then you've not got the best, most powerful GPU. You've just got something that isn't performing properly, which is exactly what's going on with the Exynos variants here. So the Adreno version that's on the Snapdragons are definitely outperforming the Exynos ones in a number of ways. For me, what is really annoying is that extends into gameplay. There is massive differences between the Exynos and the AMD on the Exynos and the Adrenos on the Snapdragons. There's a huge difference in gameplay, so much so that you would think that you were looking at phones which were maybe 3 variants or 3 versions apart or something within their performance and stuff. Actually, even if we stay within the Exynos family of processors, last year's S21 is actually more powerful in practice than what the S22 is as far as the GPU is concerned, and that has definitely got definitely on paper a much weaker GPU, yet it is outperforming the S22 against stuff that I've actually proven, and I will put these in other videos on my other channel because this is more to do with gaming. So the thing is here, we've got a phone which is basically got up to now a pretty useless GPU, if I've got to be dead honest, because there's no point in having this all sing and all dancing GPU which does hardware ray tracing and stuff if nothing can take account of it. And the problem is here as well, so far this GPU only appears on one processor, and that is the Exynos 2200. So if you're a dev, are you going to waste all the time that it's going to take to optimize your software for just one CPU or one SoC on one phone range, when the rest of the world is going to be running on something like Snapdragon or MediaTek and stuff like that? And there's a lot more of that stuff out there than this one series of Exynos CPUs or SoCs. Anyways, that GPU thing may not be a big issue for some people because they may say to themselves, well, I don't do gaming and stuff. However, I will guarantee you that that will actually have an effect on other things and not just gaming. Anyways, that'll do it for this video. Now, if anyone has come across the video and they have got through this far into it and have heard exactly what I've just been talking about, please do let me know in the comments if you've noticed the same or whether or not you're not seeing the same. And also, are you using the Exynos or the Snapdragon variant? Because like I say, it could just be my one phone, it could be something that's isolated to Exynos, or it could be something that goes right across the board. I don't know at this point, which is the reason why I'm not actually pointing any fingers at any specific, like faults as it were. I'm just saying there is a problem and I've seen the problems on my particular phone. Anyways, I'm David Harry. Thank you very much for watching this video. Take care and goodbye now.